Hi there, today we're going to talk about social media. Alright, to get started off, just an introduction on who I am. My name's Darren. I'm a co-founder at Empool. My Twitter handle is @DarrenSmith, so you can follow me or just tweet me any questions you might have around this training. Alright, so first of all, I'd like to start off with a couple of myths that I want to bust. First one is people follow people. They do not follow brands. As much as brands like to think that people are following them, I'm like, obviously they have followers, but more so people follow people. Secondly is you can run a competition on social media and you can get a whole bunch of followers by forcing people to follow you due to the competition, but there's a very easy button to press once you've followed somebody that hides all posts from them in future. And many people that follow you for the sake of a competition will still follow. You'll still get the count, but they won't be seeing any of your updates. The last thing is more and more you have to pay for amplification. So just because you've got a whole bunch of followers does not mean that people are seeing your content. And the classic example there is of Facebook, who even if you have a Facebook page or a Facebook group, very few people are actually going to see your posts unless you pay for that amplification. So before we can get started with social media planning, what you need to do is make sure you have a persona strategy in place. So who are the people within your target market that you are targeting and that influence the people that make decisions, and then know who the brand ambassadors are that you're going to represent. So as I said, people follow people. So by all means, you can run a brand's Facebook page and a brand's Twitter account. But in addition to that, make sure that you are also running several brand ambassadors or employees' Twitter and LinkedIn profiles as an example, so that you actually get a much larger reach. So the first step is to identify where your personas are and what type of content they consume. So if your persona is CEO Chris, for example, you know that CEO Chris is on Facebook because Facebook is kind of for the older generation at the moment. You know that he also uses LinkedIn because he's a business person. He consumes leadership content, and he probably consumes content from his children on Facebook, and he likes professional English. As opposed to student Sally, who most likely uses Snapchat and Instagram. She consumes fashion and entertainment style content, and she likes conversational English. Now, the big mistake that lots of people make is if you are a CEO, for example, you're likely to be taking part in other kind of LinkedIn groups and blogging forums and so on around leadership and CEOs. But that is not necessarily where your target market is. For example, if your client was selling trees to offset carbon footprints, the target market is going to be taking part in environmental style groups, not in groups that you may be taking part in, such as if you are the CEO or if you're the finance manager. So it's very important that you align the groups and forums that you take part in on social media to your personas, not to what you are personally interested in. So the first step that you need to do is take each of your personas and identify exactly where they are and what content they want to consume. The next thing is then to take those employees or those brand ambassadors and identify who they're going to align to. So you may want to align each ambassador to all your personas, but it probably makes most sense that if your ambassador, for example, Ambassador 1 is, for example, the CEO of your company, the persona that he probably is going to kind of make sense to the most is finance personas or other leaders. They're probably going to use LinkedIn the most. If your other ambassador is your project manager or your sales director, you can align them to other personas within your strategy and to other types of channels. So your second step is to identify all those ambassadors you're going to post on behalf of and identify where and what you're going to post on their behalf. So what are you going to share on social media? So first of all, you need to be sharing your own content. If you do not have a content strategy and you are not producing content, you should not be posting anything on social media, because all you're doing is creating noise. So rather don't do anything than post arbitrary stuff. You can see there, one of the things that I say beware of is beware of those Happy Friday posts. There's so many brands and so many people that post things that have absolutely no value to their personas and their target market. Don't be one of those people. The other thing that you need to be aware of is don't just post a status update or a picture with no call to action, so no link in that post to go and read more, find out more. Your social media should essentially be teasers for the bigger thing that you directing people to. The other thing, of course, is you can promote your offers. So whether that is an ebook, a white paper, a calculator, that type of thing, you can use that to promote that directly on social media. Social media has a big impact on search engine optimization, because every time you share a page that is optimized for a particular keyword, you increase that page's social graph, and as a result, you push that ranking of that page up. So sharing pages on your website is very important. And then, of course, you don't want to just be talking about yourself, so you should put in some other people's or other brands' content at the same time between your content. Your content should be the predominant content, but also include some other content. What results should you expect from social media? Well, first of all, your social media should be generating you leads, and as a result, it should be generating sales. Of course, there's brand awareness and kind of brand knowledge that you can gain from social media. As I said, you can increase a page's social graph, in generating leads and brand awareness and social graph. And as people share your content, you essentially get in a bigger reach. And if you've created great content that somebody shares, your ideal persona shares, they're likely to be friends with other personas that are your ideal persona. So you really are increasing your brand awareness and potentially generating leads. The last thing that social media needs to do is address the fear of being first. So what I mean here is when you arrive on a website or a piece of content and it's got the social share buttons there, and you see nobody has shared this piece of content, you're not going to be brave enough to go and share that piece of content yourself, because with no shares on that piece of content, maybe that content is really bad. So if you go and you land on a piece of content and you see, hey, this thing has been shared 30 times, the chance that you're going to share it increases substantially. So the point there is when you do produce a piece of content, it's really important to initiate that sharing and share for some employees and your brand a couple of times, so the first person that arrives on there thinks it's a great piece of content and is no longer scared of being the first one there. Which is exactly like that picture there. You know, when you go to a club, there may be a club with nobody in the queue and a club next door with a ton of people in the queue. Why is nobody in the club that has no queue? They could get a beer faster, but instead they have the fear of being first, and so they're not in that club. All right, so how much can you share on each platform? So as a rule of thumb, you can share an update on Facebook once, Instagram once, Google Plus once. Only kind of people that are in digital marketing use Google Plus. Twitter, you can share 3 times, once in the morning, once in the middle of the day, and once in the afternoon. That's because the timeline moves so fast, and people may miss your post. Obviously, spread that over a couple of days, and this is essentially the same piece of copy that you're sharing. So if you change the piece of copy, of course you can share it on Facebook again, or if you change the image, but it's the same kind of concept, you can share it on Instagram again. Then Pinterest, you can share that on once. A LinkedIn company page, you can share it once. A LinkedIn group, you can share it once. And do not post more than twice a month in any particular group, otherwise you could get blocked. And then LinkedIn personal accounts, really importantly, also similar to Twitter, you can share it 3 times at different times of the day. So here comes kind of building out the social sharing calendar and what we call the zigzag pattern. So in this example here, it goes over a 2-week period. And you can see there, for Ambassador 1, we share on the Monday, then we share on a Sunday, and then we share on a Thursday. So that piece of content is going to be seen maybe in the morning on the Monday, in the afternoon on the Sunday, and in the evening on the Thursday. So different times of day across different days for that particular person. Then Ambassador 2 has also got 3 times that we're going to share that, and it's on different days. So this is going to keep this piece of content live for 2 weeks. So you're going to get maximum value out of this piece of content. As you can see, certain days we are sharing up to 2 times a day if you have 5 ambassadors. When it comes to sharing at what time, so you can see in this example, with Ambassador 1, we have a morning share, a midday share, and an afternoon share. And you can see if we look at content piece A, it could get shared in the morning first, then in the afternoon or middle of the day on a different day, and then in the afternoon on another day. So that makes sure that people that look at social media at different times of the day don't miss your post, and you get maximum value of that post. So how to grow your reach on social media? First of all, create amazing content that people really, really want to share. Address that fear of being first, and people will share your content. Second thing is tag relevant and influential people and brands in your posts. Those people are going to be notified that they've been tagged, and there's a great chance that they will retweet or repost that piece of content, and their followers will then see it. Then have a follow and connect strategy in place. On Twitter, make sure you follow in certain people. They're probably going to follow you back. On LinkedIn, as an example, make sure that you identify certain job titles and certain people and actively get your brand ambassadors connecting to those people. Of course, use something like hashtags in your Twitter updates, and use something like #Hashtagify me to identify which hashtags to use. Share the content of others. They might follow you as a result. And then, very importantly, never forget paid amplification, where you can boost your posts through a promoted post on Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, whichever social media you are using. Then when it comes to listening and being proactive, so on Twitter, it's really important to identify words that your personas may be using where you may have a solution and you can respond to them. For example, if you are a pest control company and somebody tweets, "I've just seen a cockroach," you could reply to them and say, "Hey, can I come and help get rid of it?" So a tool like HubSpot Social Inbox allows you to search for terms like that and notifies you via email so that you can very quickly respond to people. On Instagram, you could search for particular hashtags. So for example, if you sell some kind of craft beer, you could search for hashtags around kind of really trendy craft markets that happen on the weekend, and like people that are posting pictures of themselves at these markets. There's a great chance that they're going to come and check out your Instagram profile. Of course, identify some blogs that you want to check out and actively comment on those blogs. Same with LinkedIn groups. And what's really important with listening and being proactive on social media is have a process around it and a schedule. So make sure that you're doing it every single day at a certain time, or once a week at a certain time, so it doesn't ever get put at the bottom of your to-do list. Thanks for listening to me today. I have set up a little exercise for you to test what you've learned. Go over to office.mpool.com/academy-social-media to download the assessment or at least the task, and we will mark it for you and give you some feedback. Thank you.